South Africa, the land of Mandela, the Rainbow Nation, a country rich in history, culture, and diversity, a place where the spirit of unity and resilience has always shone brightly, even in the darkest of times. For decades, one party ruled, the African National Congress, or ANC. They fought apartheid. They brought freedom. They were the torchbearers of hope and change, leading the nation out of the shadows of oppression and into the light of democracy. But lately, not so much. The once glorious ANC began to falter. Promises were broken, and the trust of the people started to wane. The dream of a prosperous and equal society seemed to slip further away. People were tired. Tired of corruption, tired of inequality, tired of the lights not staying on. The daily struggles of ordinary South Africans became a testament to the growing discontent. The streets echoed with the voices of those demanding change, justice, and a better future. Then came the election, a political earthquake. The nation held its breath as the votes were counted. The anticipation was palpable, and the desire for change was undeniable. The ANC lost its majority, a moment that marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in South Africa's political landscape. For the first time in South Africa's democratic history, a coalition government took charge. A diverse assembly of political parties, each bringing their unique perspectives and solutions to the table. It was a collection of different parties, each with its own ideas, coming together. The spirit of collaboration and compromise was now at the forefront, as leaders worked to bridge divides and find common ground. This wasn't just about changing the guard, it was about changing the game. A new approach to governance, one that promised to be more inclusive, transparent, and accountable. It was about changing the game. The new coalition government faced the monumental task of addressing the nation's challenges head-on, from economic disparities to social injustices. South Africa was sending a message. Things had to change. The people had spoken, and their voices were loud and clear. The world watched as this new chapter unfolded, curious and hopeful about the future. This new government, they had their work cut out for them. The world was watching. International allies and observers were keen to see how South Africa would navigate this uncharted territory. How would this impact South Africa's place on the global stage? The decisions made in the coming months and years would shape not only the nation's future, but also its role in the international community. Buckle up, folks. Things were about to get interesting. The journey ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. South Africa was ready for a new dawn, a fresh start, and a brighter future. So, who are these new kids on the block? Picture this, a coalition government. It's like a political potluck. Everyone brings something different to the table. You've got the Democratic Alliance, or DA. They're seen as more business-friendly, attracting urban voters. Then there's the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF. They're all about economic justice, shaking things up and redistributing wealth. And let's not forget the smaller parties, each with their own flavor. It's a melting pot of ideologies. Can they work together? Can they find common ground? That's the million-dollar question. Some say it's a recipe for disaster. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Others say it's a chance for fresh ideas, for compromise, for a South Africa that truly represents everyone. One thing's for sure. This coalition is a symbol of South Africa's diversity. It's a microcosm of the nation itself. Now let's talk BRICS. You know, that group of emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and of course, South Africa. They're like the cool kids table in the global cafeteria. They've been flexing their economic muscles, challenging the old guard. South Africa, with its resources and strategic location, has always been a key player. But now, things are a little awkward. This new coalition government, they're not afraid to play hardball. They're looking at South Africa's interests first. They're asking tough questions. Is BRICS really benefiting us? Are we getting a fair deal? Some say South Africa needs BRICS. It gives them clout, access to new markets, and investment opportunities. Others say it's time to diversify, to build stronger ties with other countries, maybe even cozy up to the West a bit more. Cracks in the BRICS wall. Can unity survive different visions? Here's the thing about groups. They work best when everyone's on the same page. But within BRICS, it's a different story altogether. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, each have their own unique perspectives and agendas. This diversity can be both a strength and a challenge. Let's just say there are some philosophical differences. Take Russia, for example. Russia has always been a bit of a wild card in the international arena. They've been a bit of a troublemaker lately, what with the whole invading their neighbor thing. This has not only strained their relations with the West, but also put them at odds with some of their BRICS partners. The West is not impressed. The international community has responded with a slew of sanctions aimed at isolating Russia economically and politically. Sanctions are flying left, right, and center. This has created a complex situation for the other BRICS nations, particularly South Africa. They're trying to walk a tightrope. South Africa finds itself in a precarious position, trying to maintain a balanced relationship with both Russia and the West. They don't want to alienate Russia, given their historical ties and economic interests. But they also don't want to get caught in the crossfire. And then there's China. China, with its massive economic clout, has its own set of priorities. They're like the big, ambitious friend in the group. China's vision for BRICS is heavily influenced by its own global ambitions. They're investing heavily in Africa. These investments are part of China's broader strategy to expand its influence and secure resources. Some see it as a win-win. They argue that China's investments are helping to develop infrastructure and create jobs in Africa. Others worry about China's growing influence. Critics argue that these investments come with strings attached and could lead to a new form of economic dependency. South Africa's new government? They're not afraid to call out their BRICS buddies when they see something they don't like. This assertiveness is a sign of South Africa's growing confidence on the international stage. They're pushing for more transparency, more accountability, and a more equitable global order. Will this cause friction? Probably. But it's a necessary step for the group to evolve and adapt to changing global dynamics. But hey, no one ever said diplomacy was easy. The path to unity is fraught with challenges, but it's these very challenges that can lead to growth and stronger bonds. The question remains, can BRICS navigate these turbulent waters and emerge stronger? Only time will tell. A new chapter with the West. Shared values, shared goals. For a long time, relations between South Africa and the West have been complicated. The history is rich and complex, filled with moments of both collaboration and conflict. It's like that ex you can't quite seem to quit. There's history there, baggage, but also a flicker of something more, a potential for a renewed connection. But also a flicker of something more, a glimmer of hope that perhaps this time things could be different. Now, with this new coalition government, could things be changing? This new government. They seem to be bringing a fresh perspective, a willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. They're talking about democracy, human rights, the rule of law. These are not just buzzwords. They are foundational principles that both sides claim to uphold. All those things the West holds dear. And South Africa too is emphasizing these values, signaling a possible alignment in their political philosophies. They're also keen on attracting foreign investment, boosting trade, and tackling climate change. These are critical areas where collaboration could yield significant benefits for both parties. Areas where they might find common ground with the West. Climate change, in particular, is a global issue that requires a united front. Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are still significant hurdles to overcome. There are still disagreements over things like trade deals and foreign policy. These issues are complex and often contentious, requiring careful negotiation and compromise. But there's a sense of cautious optimism in the air. Both sides seem to recognize the potential benefits of a stronger relationship. A feeling that maybe, just maybe, South Africa and the West can build a new, more mature relationship, one based on mutual respect and shared interests. This new chapter could be the beginning of a partnership that not only addresses past grievances, but also looks forward to a future of shared prosperity and common goals. Collaborative projects in technology, education, and healthcare are already showing promise, indicating that both sides are willing to invest in a shared future. Cultural exchange programs are also playing a crucial role in bridging gaps, fostering understanding, and building lasting relationships between the younger generations. As agreements are signed and hands are shaken, the hope is that these gestures will translate into tangible actions and lasting change. On the ground, communities from both sides are working together on local projects, creating a grassroots movement that supports the broader diplomatic efforts. At press conferences, leaders from both sides are fielding tough questions, but their responses indicate a commitment to transparency and accountability. attending cultural events together. These leaders are not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, showing that they are invested in this relationship on multiple levels. As the flags of South Africa and the West wave together in the wind, there's a sense of hope and possibility. A belief that this new chapter could indeed be one of shared values and shared goals, paving the way for a brighter, more collaborative future. The world is watching. South Africa's Global Balancing Act. South Africa is at a crossroads. It's trying to balance its commitments to BRICS with its desire for closer ties with the West. It's like trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. Not easy. The whole world is watching. What happens in South Africa matters. It's a major player in Africa and on the global stage. Its decisions have ripple effects. Take the conflict in Ukraine, for instance. South Africa has tried to remain neutral, but that's a tough position to maintain when the West is pressuring its allies to pick a side. And then there's the global economy. It's a mess. Inflation is soaring, supply chains are disrupted. South Africa needs to make smart choices to navigate these turbulent waters. South Africa at a crossroads, a future yet unwritten. So, what does the future hold for South Africa? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain, the country is at a turning point. The end of ANC dominance has ushered in a new era of uncertainty, but also one of opportunity. Will the coalition government be able to deliver on its promises of change? Will it tilt towards the West or strengthen its ties with BRICS? Only time will tell. One thing is clear, the world is watching South Africa. Its journey will have a profound impact on Africa and the world. The stakes are high, the challenges are immense, but the potential for positive change is enormous. It's a story that's still being written, and I, for one, can't wait to see how it unfolds. The future of South Africa's relationship with BRICS and the West remains uncertain. The new government faces tough choices that will shape the country's destiny and impact the world. As we watch this political drama unfold, one thing is clear. South Africa is at a crossroads, and its decisions will have far-reaching consequences. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think this means for the future of South Africa and the world?